Hey, what's up? It's your brother Black MGTOW again, and today we're going to be talking about why are women whores? Yes, yes, yes. Why are women whores? What is it about them that makes them so want to be sluts, want to be whores, want to jump on a cock carousel from man to man? What is it? What makes them do this physically? No matter what, like what makes them act like whores or sluts, or thinks that's okay to have multiple men? And you know what? I went and I talked to, you know, psychology students at a local college, and I even talked to a psychologist. And I talked to them and I asked them about this subject. They all gave me around about the same answer. And they told me it's the comfort of society. It's the comfort of society that allows women to be whores. Because you gotta think about it. If you go to these, how do you say, if you go to some of these other countries, women, they find a hardworking man and they hold on to him like he's a piece of gold. Because I remember when I was over there in Dominican Republic for a while, and I was staying there, I noticed one thing. Women, they wanted to find, at early ages, they wanted to find a man, have kids, and they wanted to basically a man to be the protector and to take care of them. Not the only place you really found like extreme whores was really in the dense cities where they had cops and they had police around there. But when you went into these more poverty driven places, they wanted a hardworking man and they wanted to have kids, and that's all they wanted to do, and that's all they talked about whenever I went there. See, because I came from America, and when I went over there and I stayed there for a while, I had noticed there was a big cultural difference between that. Well, in the cities, yes, women were being whores, but it depends on the level of comfort they have in society. Because when I was talking to a psychologist, they all pretty much gave me the same answer, that because they have liberty and they have the police, to protect them, they don't need a man to protect them from society, because they can, pretty much from crime, because they can pretty much just call the police. They don't need a protector. They don't need a man. Because they're free to go and do whatever they want without any consequences, without really having any fear. They don't have the need for you. So I asked them. I sincerely asked them. So let's say if the police disappeared or they cut the police force down and they couldn't really police anything, what would you do? One of the psychologists was a woman, and she told me that I would find a man. She told me point blank period she would find a man. And I asked her, like, how many men has she been with? She said she wouldn't give me an exact number. She said between 25 and 55. She couldn't give me a clear number. She just said between 25 and 55 men. And I asked her, okay, so all of that would come to an end. All of that would physically come to an end if there was no police out here. And she was like, yeah, because I need protection. The thing is, society offers this type of protection, so you don't need a man. That's why if you go into these third world countries or places where it's dangerous or women can't really go outside there, because they are weaker vessels. They're not as strong as us. They're not as fast as us or as cunning. When you go into these societies and there's no police to stop anything from happening to them, they grab onto a man, they hold on to him, and they know they can't play the whore because the men are throwing them right out into the street. And once they're wearing the whore, no man's going to want to deal with them. Now they're outside in the elements by themselves, and they have nowhere to turn to. You see, because as men, we give stability and comfort. We're like a strong house that they can run inside when they're scared, or if the wind blows too hard. And right now they don't seem to see the value in us because they have all this. But soon it's going to be an economic collapse eventually. Because it all happens. Everything happens over. There was a Great Depression. There was a recession in 07, 08. And there was the Great Depression. And things happen. things happen. Right now, we're kind of overdue for one because it seems to happen every, I believe, 4 to 6 years. And we haven't had one since really like 2008, 2009. And, it's already 2017. So we're due for one to happen. You got to think, if that happens, one thing about recessions, economic collapses, it's just that when that happens, there aren't that many police because the cities or the states can't pay to have state troopers or police officers out here. So they get cut. Police officers get cut and they can't find jobs. And then, the so-called protection that you have, it disappears overnight. There's going to be cases, in the future where women, they're going to slap a man and he's going to punch her right in her mouth. She's going to call 911. And she's not going to get an answer. She's not going to get an answer. Or she's going to call the police. They're going to say they're going to beat her. And they never come. Now she's going to be sitting there looking stupid. Like, oh, I can't call the police on this guy no more. Oh, I better kiss his ass. That's what they're going to do. Once they realize that they don't have the police as protection, these women, they're going to be kissing your behinds. They're going to be really worshiping the ground you step on. Where you go, they're going to want to go. What you say, they're going to listen. Because now they don't have Big Daddy government supporting them. And they don't have the police supporting them. They don't have the liberty to walk over a man. And if you hit them, or if you talk back to them, or you do something to them, they can call the police. Once the police are out the window and they have no protection, then they know what they need to do. They know they better shut their mouths. And that's what we're coming to. That's what we're coming to. Because in that day, they're going to understand that. And they're going to have to shut their mouths. Because all this stuff is going to happen in the future soon. It's going to happen. Because first and foremost, it's going to happen in increments. Because once Trump starts cutting all these sections, Section 8 and welfare, EBT, all that good stuff. Once he cuts that stuff, women are going to either try to find a man or they're going to prostitute themselves. Then what's going to happen is, once some cuts happen, the economy's going to boom for a while. But let's say a recession hits. A small one, because recessions seem to revolve around birth rates, and women right now, since they're not marrying or having kids, the birth rates are completely falling. And let's say a recession happens, now there's no more Section 8. There are no more public assistance, because around the recession, public assistance and all this other stuff was helping women and people who stay afloat. Since there's going to be no more of that, if a recession hits, you're going to have no choice but to rely on a man. They're going to have no choice but to do it. But to rely on a man. That's the day we're coming to, man. Because MGTOWs, man, like, we prepare. We're prepared for it. We work hard. We're not letting a woman take our wealth. We're on a pursuit of happiness for ourselves. And we can't let these women, because they want to be whores, let it bother us. Because I gotta tell you, brothers, just wait for it. Wait for it. It's coming. The big payback is coming. Where they're gonna be wanting you, desperately wanting you, for protection, for help, for stability. And we're not gonna give it to them. Me personally, I'm working on trying to become that MGTOW hermit. But I don't want to mess with them. Because they're going to deserve every last thing they get. Because you got to think, how many people have died because of them? Because of their liberty, so-called, this feminist, their liberty. They want to be this or be that, and they don't want to care about a man or his feelings. Because ultimately, they don't care about us. How many men have went to jail because of them lying, or them just wanting to be spiteful and ruin childish and ruin a man's life? How many men have died, gone to jail, had their lives ruined, had their kids taken away from them because of these women? And it's going to come to a point in time very soon, where them being whores and them doing all this stuff, men are not going to want to deal with them. No man's going to want to deal with them, man. No, none of them. That they're going to be begging for you to take them in, begging for you to sleep with them, begging, man. You might have to kick one of them in the mouth for you to get them off of you. They would try to tear down your clothes. Because sooner or later, once the money dries up, or let's say because we're coming to a gig economy. Angry MGTOW likes to say that, but he's definitely right, gig economy. And men, we like to build, let's say, economies around ourselves. Like me, I'm a tradesman, and I have certain customers that come to me, from time to time. A lot of times I gotta go out there and I gotta hustle for for money. You know what I mean? I gotta sell myself. So I can, let's say, go out there and build a shed or build this or that or whatever I'm building or doing. I go out there and hustle. These women, they can't hustle. They don't hustle. They don't have it in them. And we're heading for this gig economy, so that when that day happens, they're going to be out there. They're going to have no jobs. They're going to be poor. They're going to be looking for a man for stability. And in that gig economy, when things are being cut, even the police force are being cut, they're going to be looking for a man. And you know what? They've burnt so many bridges that in that gig economy, they're not going to be able to get a man. MGTOW men are not going to want to deal with them. The manginas might want to do it, but they're not going to want a weak man. Because a mangina is just like a woman. He basically, a mangina is like a she-male. You know what I mean? That's a man pretty much in a woman's body. Because they're men. They're full-blown men. They got testosterone, but they act just like women. And they're not going to be able to build an economy around themselves. So really, they're going to want to turn to the MGTOWs. You know what I mean? And, it's up to you. I'm not going to, we all going our own way. But me personally, I'm going to be a cold brother in that day. Cold brother. And brothers, I'm just saying, man, just hold strong and wait and let your nuts hang. Please subscribe.